I made the Sukuna video, I made the Gojo video, and today I got a third one for you. Now this one isn't a hate video like the other two were. I want to say that I kind of like Itadori fans, and I feel like Itadori is in the minority of fans for Jujutsu Kaisen because I think that the writing has not served Itadori well, and I think that is a reason why a lot of people feel like they don't like his character. Weirdly enough, I think they're the least toxic out of this whole fan base, if I'm being truthfully honest. I feel like they are stuck in a very weird place when it comes to Itadori as a character, because Gojo is such a charismatic character that he can sometimes pull a lot of attention from the main character, from the main group. They had the whole beginning of season 2 was basically his backstory. He is a mentor character, and the thing is, mentor characters have certain rules that they follow. Most of the time they train the character to be stronger. They sometimes maybe protect the main character from a big bad that is terrorizing everything, and a lot of times the mentor dies. The teacher dies, the student surpasses the teacher, defeats who had killed the teacher. And I feel like the weird thing is that basically this anime to me suffers from 3 main characters. Now obviously Itadori is the main character. We follow the story from his perspective. I don't want to sit here and get into another one of those videos that I made that basically discusses Gojo as maybe a potential main character. Itadori is obviously the de facto main character. I just think he could be he's a little bit outshined because of a great villain and a great mentor character. I mean, we've seen Gojo pretty much dominate everybody, and even Sukuna as a villain is a very, very interesting villain. He's like the demon inside the body trait, the one that obviously I'm referring to Naruto. Naruto befriends his demon inside of him, but Sukuna just seems like irredeemable. So that means that basically he had a real life serial killer evil demon inside his body this whole time, and he's not gonna change for the better. They might try to sympathize him. I don't know how the anime is gonna go, but at this point he can't come back from what he's done. So I love that for Sukuna. I even love that for Gojo. I think they make some interesting characters, but because they're so interesting, it makes Itadori just a little bit boring. Itadori has like the de facto main character. I want to save everybody. I want to protect everybody. And I think it's interesting light to show that you have these two figures that are larger than life in his life, and specifically Sukuna doing all the things he did to him in the Shibuya arc in terms of like trying to break his mind, body, and soul. Even makes Mahito looks like an amazing villain because his whole goal is to break Itadori, and Itadori is just kind of there to be the punching bag in a way. Like they're gonna try to do as much things possible to basically make Itadori break and give up his will, and I feel like that is an interesting concept because it makes everybody around Itadori look really, really good. But I can definitely understand why fans of Itadori wouldn't be happy with how things are portrayed, because obviously now he's getting a lot of random power-ups and stuff, and it seems random, and they might have dropped little hints there and there, but from a guy that had no curse technique, he seems to be doing pretty much every technique in the book at this point, and it just seems like it's not as earned as it could have been. And I think that this is kind of a win for Itadori fans, because I feel like yes, he's getting stronger, but the actual manga anime could have been not necessarily padded, because I didn't want like filler and stuff in the anime, but they could have gave us a little bit of like this hint before. I think that I know you guys are gonna hate me for this, the worst fan base in the anime, a lot of times people say it's gonna be My Hero, and My Hero has a terrible fan base. But one thing I like about My Hero that has nothing to do with the fan base is the way they did Deku. Now Deku is obviously a crybaby. He cries at every fight, and I honestly like Deku. Weirdly enough, even though he's kind of that character, I like the way they do characters in My Hero. They seem to give characters an equal amount of time. You have characters like Bakugo, you have characters like Todoroki. Both these characters are cool, and they have their own central episodes, and they have plot lines that are developed for them specifically, and similar to Gojo and Sukuna. But the only thing is, they don't overshadow Deku. Like when I see Deku fight, I always root for him. Like I want him to be good. You know what I'm saying? Like he's kind of like Itadori. He wants to protect his friends. He's gonna fight. He's not scared to fight, even though he cries a lot. He's not scared to fight. He's I want to protect my friends at all costs type of person. But weirdly enough, it's just something about him that makes you want to fight for him, And Bakugo is the hot-headed character that eventually comes around. Todoroki is the closed-off character that eventually likes to let people in at a certain point. And I feel like they have a whole cast of characters as like the whole class is characters, but these 3 is the central focus. Just like the central focus in Jujutsu Kaisen should be Megumi, say Megumi. Megumi and Nobara and Itadori. Itadori is in that focus. I think Megumi is also in the kind of focus or whatever. I think Nobara's death was unnecessary, like at all. Also, another My Hero parallel. All Might. All Might is basically Gojo. Let's be honest. He's basically Gojo, but obviously in the beginning of the series, we see him injured. So they nerfed him in the beginning of the series. Gojo was not nerfed. Gojo was actually that powerful for his entirety of the series, so it made sense that he would just beat everybody. Now, All Might, the reason why I think All Might in this situation is a little bit better written is because All Might is OP to a certain extent. He's limited, and when he does his big final battle, he basically passed the reins on to Deku in the way that I feel like Gojo really never did. Gojo in the entire story has been basically beating everybody left and right, and eventually he just gets sealed. You know, things happen, everything goes to hell because without Gojo nothing is great. He gave pretty much the sorcerer world a big security blanket. The reason why I feel like this story parallels so well is because the fight of All for One and All Might versus the fight for Gojo and Sukuna, they kind of mirror each other. Like both of them is like the big bad and the greatest hero of old, while this is technically a newer guy in the story that has his own little fight. Effectively, All Might defeats All for One, but in exchange, he loses everything, so he's no longer able to fight. This causes Midoriya to basically step up and be the hero that he needs to be, at least starting to work on it. I feel like Itadori never got that moment. I feel like we are literally in that moment right now, and it's happening just a little too fast, to be honest. Gojo came out the prison realm. He immediately went to Sukuna, went to go fight them. Him and Sukuna get into it. Regardless of what you want to say, whether Sukuna used whatever was at his disposal and Gojo used whatever his disposal, Gojo lost. He was killed. And now we got that moment where there is time for Itadori to step into the big shoes, fight Sukuna. And I think a lot of the people hate Itadori, and I've seen hate. I mean, he's not hated as like Sukuna versus Gojo. People don't even really talk about him that much, but he's just kind of doing some unspeakable things right now. He's doing a lot of amazing abilities right now, so people are saying that's kind of bullshit. And my thing is, I kind of get that, you know. A lot of this time when this trope happens, characters get time away to actually get in touch with their new abilities, or they're getting power-ups from the death of others, but it's also not necessarily true. Look at Goku turning into Super Saiyan. As soon as Krillin was killed, Goku went to Super Saiyan mode, and that's obviously a way somebody can get a big burst of power from a story like that. But also at the same point, Goku was a big point of his story. We all knew Goku's the main character. He had the most screen time. But the difference in opinion could be said for Naruto, when Jiraiya was unfortunately killed by Pain, in which Naruto went to go train up and eventually defeat the person that defeated his master. So I can see it both ways. I'm not saying that Itadori is a terrible character because of all the new abilities and all the, you know, basically the writer trying to write himself out of a corner, as a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are saying that Itadori is being used as a plot device to write them out of a corner. You know, they're bad into a corner, but how strong they made Sukuna, how strong they made Gojo, and allow Sukuna to defeat Gojo, and then now they have to use Itadori to defeat Sukuna. Now I've been talking a lot about this, and I personally think here's how I would end it, and this by no means is a good plot line. This is just what I would like to see happen. I would like to see Itadori lose, maybe injure Sukuna in a certain way, but I would love to see Itadori lose somehow. It loses, and then the era of curses is brought back. You know, the world's in turmoil. Basically, everything's messed up because Sukuna is on top. Sukuna and Kenjaku. But obviously, that wouldn't be the case because I think this manga is actually ending very, very soon. So this will probably be the final battle. I didn't really get to mention Yuta in this because Yuta is also a big point of contention with the main character slot, because his actual part in Jujutsu Kaisen came way before Itadori was even thought of. He was technically the original main character, if you guys didn't know. But regardless of that, I didn't really talk about him because I specifically wanted to talk about Itadori in this. He might get his own video. If not, this might be the end of that series. I want to do other characters from other franchise. If you guys got somebody you want me to, like, I hate Sukuna fans, I hate Gojo fans, I hate this character, that character, I would definitely do them, and I'll let you know my opinions in the video form. But like I said, Yuta may get his own video. I'm not sure at this point. I did feel like Itadori just could have been written a little bit better, to be honest. I really like his character in terms of making other characters seem more menacing. Him being broken down by Mahito makes Mahito such an amazing villain. Every time I look at him, I look like, how can he get more despicable? To me, I don't want to say he's on the level of Griffith at all, but if I had to choose a new age Griffith, I think Mahito could be the one. I think he's done a lot to break Itadori at this point. He just hates Itadori with all of his passion. With that being said, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll
真人、俺はお前だ。手したかった。
剣がくれるぞスタープラチナザワーやれやれだぜ。